Hello, fabulous superstar Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of September 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, at a very special time, and it truly is so very special now. Wow. Big energies at play right out of the gate. Your modern ruling planet Uranus on the first of the month is going retrograde. It will stand still in the sky and start to go backwards. And this is a big moment of truth for you, without a doubt. It's a moment of insight, of clarity, of understanding that might feel like it takes you aback or takes you by surprise, but ultimately invites deeper reflection. It is Uranus that is moving through the foundation of your chart, having to do with your past, your living situation, and your family of origin. And there might just be some surprise developments there. It could be that there's a lot going on the home front, a lot of activity around you now, unexpected events that feel like they take you by surprise. If it is that you work from home or with home, it could be that there's a flurry of activity there that's professionally related. But if work is not connected to home in any way, there might still be a flurry of activity that you didn't expect, but certainly feels like a wake-up call of sorts. You might learn something about your past that you didn't expect, or the past might come a-knocking. It might come calling for you now as well. So stay open to possibility. You know, Uranus loves to deliver things out of nowhere, out of surprise. But ultimately, it is through surprise that you find truth. And it is truth that ends up feeling positively liberating, and being liberated from the regrets or the pain of the past is a part of the gift of this moment and of this time. On the same day, September 1st, big news, and that is that Pluto will leave your sign. Now, it's only for about 7 weeks as Pluto retrogrades out of your sign back into the sign just before yours, where Pluto has been hanging out since 2008. So you get a little bit of a respite from the intensity of life that can be there when Pluto is in your own sign. This 7-week period is going to be meaningful and consequential. It was back at the end of December, beginning of January of this year, that Pluto was where Pluto is returning to now. And so what happens might in some way hearken to what was taking place back then. So stay open to possibility. And know that a lot will start stirring within you on levels of soul, psyche, and spirit. It might feel like a relief, okay, at first, because it's like the intensity of life calming down. Might feel very welcome because as an Aquarius, your mind can be so active. But it really is about wrapping up loose ends and appreciating the larger lessons that likely have been there ongoing since 2008. You're finishing things off so that you can move forward towards even more meaningful transformations once it is that Pluto re-enters your sign in November, and I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. On the 2nd of the month, we will have this month's new moon happening in a deeply consequential part of your sky. I'm going to say that word consequential a few times because I do think it's a huge month. There are big things happening. The new moon is in a part of the sky that has to do with truth, transformation, regeneration. It has to do with wealth, how you understand it, how you wield it. So it is this new moon that is standing across the sky from Saturn, which represents a moment of truth, a moment of honesty. But it's also about being aware of sacrifice. It is about having an understanding of what sacrifices are worth it and what aren't. And so some Aquarians might experience this energy financially. If it is that there's a loan to pay off, for example, this is where you are realizing that you really need to get that done. It could be a time when you're asked to pay attention to matters having to do with your access to credit. If there are benefits that you're applying for, there might be more steps that you need to take at this new moon. Because of Saturn, a lot needs to be documented. A lot might feel like it needs to be done properly or needs to be done well. But of course, Saturn is your ancient ruling planet, so you will know how to work with that energy. This can be a time of personal transformation, and where it is that you are already involved in a process of transformation, it becomes more obvious that you are in a time of change, or this might be a time when you begin a process of transformation in some way. And getting to some deeper truth, the kind that changes you deeply, might be part of this new moon energy as well. And the truth might not be easy. I do want to say that. Saturn is opposite. The truth might be delivered through an experience outside of you, but it helps you to get in touch with and honest with yourself and what's really going on there. As we navigate forward, the 17th of the month features a lunar eclipse. This is big. It's the beginning of eclipse season, 2 weeks that'll take you into next month, where the ancients believed the veil between the worlds was especially thin, and it was that much easier to recognize spiritual lessons playing out. The eclipse is happening in a financial part of your sky, having to do with money you earn, money you spend, and also self-love, self-esteem are covered here as well. Now, again, I'm going to say the word consequential because this is big. This is a very powerful eclipse because it involves big planets. And it is part of what astrologers call a kite formation, which is a major configuration of blessings, of opportunity, of power. So we have on one side of the kite a grand trine between Uranus, Pluto, and the Sun. And we have it anchored by the lunar eclipse energy, the moon. And on either side of the moon, we get Saturn and Neptune. The moon itself is speaking in harmony with Uranus and Pluto and is opposite the Sun. And then you get Jupiter squaring this eclipse. So that Jupiterian energy makes this feel larger than life, makes it feel like a really big, really important time. And it is about overestimation, overconfidence. But there's power, there's insight, there's opportunity, there's realization, there's revelation here. So because it's a lunar eclipse, lunar eclipses can bring certain chapters to a close. But their time has come. It may feel right. But I think more than anything, a lot of these energies to me say developments are afoot that ultimately may end up benefiting you, possibly financially. Given that Uranus is part of this, Uranus at the foundation of your chart, the psychic houses are lit up with that grand trine. But also we have wealth with the Sun. All of this to me says if you have a home-based business or you work with homes, that could be especially prosperous now. But if that isn't necessarily the case, then that might start to be the case now. And that could be part of the changes you experience. This might be a time when you recognize what you can do to generate greater prosperity for you, or you might redefine what prosperity is in a very different way. It's a time that feels meaningful, it feels inspired, but there's also real action being taken that moves you towards a renewed sense of the possible. Eclipses are not necessarily energies you want to work with consciously, but rather you want to see what shows up. And the best stuff, the best opportunities might feel like they just show up for you now. Self-love, self-esteem, big breakthroughs and progress can happen on those fronts for you as well. Now, where it comes to matters of love, I'm going to go back to that new moon energy. I think that's the really big deal energy here. Because that new moon at the start of the month happens in a part of the sky that, in addition to what I mentioned, has to do with vulnerability. intimacy, truly feeling like you are known by another, truly connecting to another. And with that new moon, the superficial just won't cut it. You're being honest with yourself. And where certain connections are meaningful, you'll be able to recognize it. Where they are not, where there isn't something there that you can feel deep within, it's going to be obvious to you as well. And it may just not be meaningful to you. So for those of you open to meeting someone new, I feel like around that new moon energy, there's a powerful attraction to another person. It could be downright complicated in some way. It's always up to you to decide what's right for you to do in light of your unique circumstances. Intimacy doesn't necessarily mean physical. It could be, it might be. But whatever happens with this person, it serves as a catalyst moment for you. It helps you to understand yourself and to honestly look at what you're going for where it comes to deep trust and intimacy with another. For those of you just starting to date someone, this can represent an increase of intimacy, but Saturn is all about patience, right? And so I think the more likely scenario is there is vulnerability here. There is intimacy here, but it is oriented around emotions and wanting this to last in some way. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will, but it is a time of being honest with yourself about what's really here and if it's real. Now, I want to add on the 7th of the month, we do get Mercury direct, making its third and final square to Uranus, okay? We had these squares before on the 19th of August and the 21st of July as part of the larger Mercury retrograde season. We're wrapping that up. The fact that Mercury is going direct now in your opposite sign, what happens in love might connect you to those dates. And if you felt like there was a surprise a minute, especially with this person, or in the context of love in general as a principle and what was taking place for you, regardless of relationship status, well, you can expect further insights now that could be a game changer and could be an all or nothing moment for you in the context of someone new that you're getting to know. And for those of you in an established bond, the new moon energy might play out in terms of your partner's income. And so there might be developments there. There might be a need for some patience or a need to honestly evaluate the sacrifices that are being made in order for income to happen. But for all that, this could also be vulnerability and a renewed, deeper intimacy now, being more honest with this person about what work needs to happen so that the two of you can continue to grow closer together. Where relationships are good, this exchange will help bond the two of you together. But where that isn't necessarily the case, I think you or the other person or both might be asking yourself if the work is worth it. There is going to be some clarity, some quick moving insight that happens around the 7th of the month that could be a game changer for you now. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love the energy of, well, Uranus, your ruling planet going retrograde, is going to bring a surprise a minute that ultimately lends itself to reflection. Your past might pop up in ways that you didn't expect. It's like the last thing you expected, and it just shows up for you now. But it is a meaningful energy. It is an energy that brings with it newfound insights that end up changing your relationship to where you've been as part of being that much more open, enthusiastic, and ready for what has yet to be. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.